Well, hello there, Richard Tubb here with a bonusode of TubbTalk, the podcast for IT consultants for you. You may remember back in episode 73 of TubbTalk, I interviewed Paul Rosenthal about VPNs for managed service providers and specifically about the Privatise VPN product. Well, fast forward a couple of months and we've got the news that Rafi Ozick, who I'm going to interview in today's very short episode, has completed a management buyout of Privatise VPN. What's more, Rafi's going to grow the business from a VPN, a virtual private network, into a full stack of security products for managed service providers. So we felt as though it was really soon after the interview that I did with Paul Rosenthal. So this is going to be a bonusode, a very short episode for you, speaking to Rafi Ozick on management buyouts and cybersecurity for MSPs. Hope you enjoy it. Hey everyone, Richard Tubb here for a very special episode of TubbTalk. Now, I'm joined today by Rafi Ozick. Now, Rafi is the software engineering manager at Abstractor, best known for their Privatise Business VPN product. Rafi's got 7 years of industry experience as a full-stack developer and software architect. But we're here today to talk about his next role because Rafi has led a management buyout at Privatise and we can announce him as the new CEO at Privatise. So Rafi, welcome to TubbTalk and congratulations on the big news.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, how does it feel to be a CEO of a company? And secondly, what do the initial plans look like for Privatise VPN? Because this is a product that's built up a really good following within the managed service provider community.
Yeah, in terms of the first question, I haven't really internalized it yet, so I don't yet really have an answer to that. What we're really planning on doing with Privatise and towards growing it is, up to now, it's been something that people know as kind of having a managed VPN and something where when people were on public Wi-Fi and they were using it in public locations, it's something they really needed for those employees. And the direction we're going now is to really be a full stack network security solution. So we're calling it cloud-based network security for MSPs. And the idea is now it's going to handle every single part of network security. So that includes the VPN encryption, that includes whitelisting if you're using cloud resources, that includes remote access if you need to get back to your office, that includes DNS filtering and everything that you really need in your network security stack and in your internet security stack. So that's the direction we're going to. So everything you need with network security, we're going to supply in really one easy to use location.
Sounds brilliant. And as I said, Privatise VPN has built up this following in the managed service provider community because it's a product that was built for MSPs. Obviously, you're one of the, as the software engineering manager at Abstractor, you're one of the people behind that product. Now, how can we see the VPN product growing? Do you have any plans? How's that going to integrate with the other parts of the security stack?
Yeah, well, the VPN is really the base for everything else. So it's going to continue being a managed VPN product. If that's what your main thing is, you can just have the managed VPN. But the big thing that we're adding to that, and it's built on top of that VPN architecture, and on top of that existing server architecture, is we're releasing something that we're calling ROC, or Remote Office Cluster. And basically that's what we're calling our dedicated server. And what you'll be able to do for each company you release to, you'll be able to get one of these dedicated servers. And when you do that, your managed VPN now becomes a managed network security network. And it's going to come with the DNS filtering and with the ability for remote access and for whitelisting, for everything else that you need. So that's the basic approach. So the managed VPN will continue being the base, and we're going to allow you to add more for your individual companies based on their need.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And what about timescale? So obviously, Privatise is a fully fledged product right now. It's being used out there in the wild by MSPs. Should say, Rafi, you know this as well, but the team and I all use Privatise VPN and love it. So what's the timeline look like for these new features that we talked about? Yeah,
a lot of these are really just by us. We're just in testing, and in the next 2-3 weeks, they're going to be released.
Wow, so soon. So by the time this episode of the podcast goes out there, people will be able to see some of the new features coming to light.
Absolutely, yeah. DNS filtering, remote access should definitely be either already released by then or very, very close. So.
That's incredible. You don't hang around, you engineering types, do you? So what are the longer term plans for the business, Rafi?
Yeah, definitely in terms of the long-term plans of Privatise, we really want to go really, really deep into network security and just really be the main tool used for all of your network security needs, and just expand more and more the integrations and the ease of use and the different abilities. We have something, for example, we have the ability to do zero trust for whitelisting, for example. And zero trust is you don't necessarily want to give everybody the same privileges to different resources. So all sorts of things we want to add and improve on, and really make the best network security product, the best VPN and remote access and DNS filtering, and all of those things product on the market for MSPs.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question about the future of cybersecurity for MSP. So obviously, as a result of COVID-19 and everything else that's gone on in the past couple of years, MSPs are now becoming acutely aware that they're the gatekeepers for their clients. Hackers, cyber criminals are targeting MSPs because they know if they can get into an MSP, they've got access to all of these client sites, and it's like an absolute goldmine for the criminals. So MSPs are becoming really aware of that. But cyber criminals are becoming more and more sophisticated, in how they attack. What do you see as the main growth area for MSPs in protecting their clients for cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think there's no question that remote work is becoming such a huge thing in this kind of COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 era. That the big growth factor, and not even growth factor, to some extent for some MSPs, even like a survival factor. You're going to have to change your business to work around this idea that people are moving more and more out of the office, is cybersecurity for remote workers. The cybersecurity is for people who are out of the office, and for some businesses combining that office plus out of office cybersecurity and network security. And that's where we're really uniquely targeted at, which is that anyone who's working from home, including offices, but if you have offices where workers are sometimes there and sometimes at home, and also even just at the office, but definitely for any kind of remote work situation, our product is perfect. And it's something that's absolutely necessary now. I think that's going to be the big growth factor in cybersecurity, is really securing people who are not necessarily in the office, and software-based network security because of that.
Absolutely makes sense, because the world has changed, hasn't it? Paul and I, on a previous episode, TubbTalk, we talked about, the idea behind Privatise VPN, because traditionally VPN products would have been you protected the office. That's no longer the case, is it? Because, you're not going to dial in to the office to access Facebook or to get access to Google Drive or whatever. So the world really has changed from that perspective.
Yeah, and just to get into a little bit more, first of all, we obviously are still supplying remote access, and many companies are still going to be using remote access, and we have a software-based approach. And you put the agent on your file server, and you could remote access into it. But for new companies and all, the new approach obviously is everything is moving over to the cloud. And one of the reasons why our whitelisting approach with the dedicated server with the remote office cluster network that we're offering is so powerful is, I'll just give an example of something that actually happened, where someone called me, and they had an employee who they had some issues with, who they had to fire. And this employee became apparently was not totally emotionally stable, and was a technician at this person's company, and started posting things on Twitter about how they're going to destroy the company and all of these things. And the person called me in a panic about how I have to stop. He has access to all these resources, and what are we supposed to do in this situation? And anyone who is in any kind of small or medium-sized company knows that this is the biggest nightmare that you have, because even if you go to each resource and try to block them, it's sometimes you don't remember which resources they access to, what do they have access to, and then you might also not be fast enough in getting them off there. And what's really nice about the whitelisting approach is you only allow people to use these cloud resources like Google Drive and like QuickBooks or Okta or different things, while they're access to the VPN. And then all you have to do is you go to Privatise and you delete that user, and they won't have access to any of their resources. And then you have peace of mind that now you could, at your own, in your own time, you could go and, disable their users and stuff like that, but you don't have to worry about them being able to get access. So it's just an example of what you just said about people using more cloud and things of that nature.
Yeah, that is a powerful story as well that you shared there, Rafi. And I know for the listeners, who MSP managed service provider owners, I've been in that situation, with employees leaving. Sometimes they've got malicious intent. I know lots of the listeners will be in that same situation. So you have just produced a killer reason for going and checking out Privatise VPN. So thank you for joining me today to talk about the plans for the business. Really, I'm so excited for you. Privatise VPN is a product that I'm a big fan of. And now that you've sort of taken over the reins and taken it to the next level, just incredible times for you. For any MSPs that are watching or listening to this and want to reach out to you and continue the conversation or find out more about this stack of cybersecurity products, how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to privatise.com/demo if they want to, go and get a demo. Or they could send an email to contact@privatise.com.
Fantastic. Rafi, again, congratulations on the management buyout here. Congratulations on becoming the CEO. I see only good things in the future for Privatise and your full stack there. So very best of luck for the future. And thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Hey folks, Richard here. Thanks for listening today. I know you've got a ton of options for who you listen to nowadays, so I really appreciate your support. Do you have any feedback on this episode? Ideas for future guests? Tweet me at TubbTalk using the hashtag TubbTalk. I respond to every tweet and really appreciate your feedback. Hey team, this is Richard again. Just one more thing before you take off, and that is MSP Insights. Now, every Tuesday, I share my thoughts on the business of IT with you, the managed service community. Thousands of managed service providers already subscribe to MSP Insights. It's easy to sign up, easy to cancel. MSP Insights is basically a short email from me every Tuesday without fail with advice on growing your IT business, plus cool resources I've found, discovered, or started exploring that week. It's kind of like my diary of cool things and often includes articles or books I've read, tools I've discovered, and events I think you'd be interested in, often sent to me by my friends and TubbTalk podcast guests. So if that sounds fun, a short tiny bite of MSP goodness every Tuesday, and you'd like to try it out, just go to go.tubb.co/Tuesday. That's go.tubb.co/Tuesday. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. Thanks for listening.